The latest train disruption has broken the record as the longest train disruption in Singapore. But do you know why it happened in the first place? If you are confused over why it can take so long for a disruption to recover, watch on to the end. So, for a start, here's how it all happened. At around 9 AM on 25th September, a train that's travelling towards the east develops a fault near Clementi MRT station. We should call this train Train A lah. Train A is a rather old train which has been in service for over 35 years. So, people alighted from Clementi MRT station as a faulty train is being withdrawn back to a depot and everyone lived happily ever after, right? No. You see, as train A is being withdrawn to the depot, something happened. Something dropped in the train, which caused the wheels of a leading to a power fault. Yeah, I know you catch no balls. So basically, just remember this. Trains aren't like cars that gets its energy from the petrol in the petrol tank or its power from its battery. Instead, it kind of gets its power from something that runs along the track, called the third rail. Therefore, just think of the entire track as a long power band that is constantly feeding the train with energy. This means that if the track is faulty, the train cannot move. So, when train A kind of dropped something on the track, it kind of affected the third rail along the track, causing another normal train near Clementi MRT station to stall. Yeah, while vehicle stalling is very common, just ask Kombi who stalled so many times that she changed from class 3 to class 3A, that loser. Train stalling isn't. So interestingly, 850 people who were in the train had to walk on the track back to Clementi MRT station. Pretty sure it has become a walk for the gram instead. But it turns out to be something even more serious. Train A's issue has kind of damaged part of the track, which they need time to repair. It didn't help that it rained, so recovery work only started after the rain ended, cause repairing electronic components at the track is as dangerous as eating laksa while wearing a white shirt. Now, I won't want to provide details about shuttle train or shuttle bus services or when it will be resolved, since that could change as the situation is still fluid. But with new train lines emerging as fast as Dong keep opening new outlets, one solution that SMRT provides is to switch trains instead to create an alternate route. Like if you are heading to CBD from the west, go up the entire red line instead, which may take longer, but that's at least more predictable. Of course, if you're afraid of issue, don't worry. You can switch train at Woodlands to take the brown line down too lah. With the train service being disrupted for over 21 hours, this has broken the record as the longest train disruption. The record used to be a disruption back in 7 October 2017, when train services was disrupted between Ang Mo Kio and Marina South Pier after the tunnels between Bishan and Braddon flooded following heavy rainfall. This disruption lasted for nearly 21 hours, with full service only restored around 2 PM the next day on 8 October. Now, I know many of you are angry that from December, public transport are increasing and yet we are faced with this disruption. Actually, think about this. During this disruption, buses around the area will be free, and there are free shuttle buses too. So maybe God really hear our complaints, and instead of simply go make a U-turn on the price hike, he makes the public transport free instead. Sorry. This incident came one day after former Transport Minister Iswaran pleaded guilty to his charges. If you are confused over his amended charges and why only 5 out of 35 charges were proceeded, watch this. And thank you for spending almost 3 minutes with me. I really appreciate it and hope you learned something.